Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Today, just going to be sharing with you just some brief little pictures of the court documents or something to do with the court case of Jim Brenner, also known as James Brenner. Credit to Julie for passing it on, the images. And yeah, I'll just show you them quickly now. Okay, so I will zoom in just so it's easier for you to see what the stuff looks like. I think this is all public, so like nothing dodgy. It's a public safety assessment report. I will read it out to you. It might be helpful for some, okay? Name, James A. Brenner, gender, male. Arrest date, the 6th of the 20th, 2022. Birth date, 12th of the 2nd, 1963. Elevated risk of committing violent crime. No. Okay. Now, can anyone explain that? Are they basically saying there's no chance of him causing any more trouble right now? Because I thought in a previous court case he was considered a danger to the general public. And if you're considered a danger to the general public, literally right now of speaking, then clearly there is a chance you could cause trouble. You could cause violence. And this is saying no. So has he been subdued all of a sudden? Is he suddenly calm and relaxed? I don't know. Bit interesting. New criminal activity scale rated 1 to 6, 1 being not that active and 6 probably being very active. And it's grayed in at number 5. So I assume he's highly active. Criminal activity. So what, like activity in recent time or frequency of it overall? I'm not sure. But it being at number 5 and then above it saying risk of committing a violent crime now, that would imply that Brenner has been doing numerous crimes in recent time, but none of them have involved hurting anyone. So an example would be obviously the gun charge as being a felon. Nothing at the moment to do with Dylan going missing, Dylan being killed or hurt, because as I said, it doesn't seem to give that at the moment. Failure to appear scale. Now, does that mean appear in court? Like, he's in jail, so he's gonna appear regardless. But this looks like it's saying there's a high chance he will fail to appear. You know, I'm not into law. I'm not an expert on any of this, so how the fuck am I supposed to know? Maybe some of you will know. So the charges: possession of a dangerous weapon by restricted. And then 2 more. I assume that's 3 charges because he's got 3 different firearms, maybe? I don't know. Risk factors. Age at current arrest, 58. So I guess this is determining overall what's he capable of, his maximum potential of danger based off his age. You know, if he's young, could be seen as more dangerous because he's more fit, more healthy, longer to live, to perform more bad acts in that space, whereas being 58, it's like probably less likely. Number 2, current violent offence. No. So that ties in with the very first point at the top where it said, like, any chances of violence in recent time, and it said no. So far, it's just basically saying he's not that dangerous. You know, he's not really done much bad. Okay. A current violent offence and 20 years old or younger. No. Pending charge at the time of the offence. Yes. Pending charge at the time. Yeah, because there's still got the... I don't know if it's... Well, you've still got the one in October, the actual court case. I assume that's the one to do with Dylan. So I guess that's what it means by pending. Unless I mean the gun charges are still underway because they're looking at stuff. Prior misdemeanor conviction, no. Prior felony conviction, yes, and that's highlighted in yellow. I don't know if that's, I don't know if someone's done that themselves, like customized it, or if it's just a key point highlighted. But yeah, that makes sense. The conviction, that's what it's mainly based on, a felony owning firearms. So yeah, that makes sense. Prior violent offence 1. Prior failure to appear in past 2 years 1. Okay. Prior failure to appear older than 2 years, yes. Prior sentence to incarceration, yes. Okay. So from the looks of this, reading it, within what, like the past 2 years, he has committed a violent offence. Now, what one was that? Was that to do the one where he attacked that 70-year-old? Or was it somebody else in between? Oh well. I mean, it says he failed to appear older than 2 years. I assume that means more than 2 years ago he failed to appear in court, maybe, and it says yes here. So I guess taking that into account, that's probably why they're saying the chances of Brenner this time failing to appear is rated 5 out of 6, because he's already done it beforehand. And I guess the new criminal activity scale rating that high because of his previous wrongdoings and dodgy activity, I assume. Okay. Recommendations: release with PRL4 conditions, court reminder notification, 1 face-to-face contact per week/month, electronic monitoring, drug testing, home detention. Okay. Now, is home detention where you can literally go back home but you're monitored and someone's watching over you? Or does it mean you're just in jail? Which one? I mean, if it was to do with literally going home and being monitored, I don't know if that would be a bit dodgy or corrupt, like being in Montello or Lucin where it's already a ghost town and there's other criminals. You know, if that's the case, there might be other criminals that might break Jim Brenner free. I don't know. Someone might help him, take him out. But yeah, the 1 face-to-face contact per week/month. You know, who would meet up with Brenner once a week? Let's say Brenner's in jail now, and then you have a one-on-one meeting with someone that, you know, comes in to visit, a visiting order. But who would visit though? Like, does he have family? Would it be a friend? What friends does he have? Would Don visit? Or is Don unlikely to, after him handing that gun over originally to the FBI and doing that interview, basically grassing on Jim Brenner? Yeah, I don't think Jim would be happy to see Don, you know, 1-to-1. So who else would? I don't know, maybe a family member, the Rounds family member, just to say a final goodbye or get the final word in maybe, and that would be it. Unless it's Brookie. Maybe Brookie keeps visiting after that if she's got some kind of fantasy about Jim Brenner and wants to be with him and marry him. I don't know. So you can leave your thoughts in the comment section, the chat. Who do you think will visit Jim Brenner if he remains in jail and is convicted? Or will people just not want anything to do with him? Just let me know what you think. Let's return back to some of the documents. Right, so I'll just zoom in once again on this next slide so you get a closer look. At the top, once again, it just gives his name, his gender, birth date and arrest date. Charges, there we go. Now, this little grid, no idea what it means. It looks like maybe a ranking system, maybe. Could it be based off gun charges, the severity of it, the degree, the level, the amount? I don't know. You can leave your comments down below. But it's in the amber section, almost bordering on to red, which means a form of danger when you associate with colours, severity, importance, stuff like that. Release types. 1. Release on own recognizance, ROR, no conditions. Release with conditions. PRL1. Okay, so maybe this grid is actually to do with being released or certain conditions met. So it could be like the severity, taking in mind how restrictive it might be. You know, if you're going to be released on a green, you're not going to be monitored, watched over. But then if you're on a red, you're going to be looked at all the time, might have to have a curfew, stuff like that. I don't know. Sounds like it. Pre-trial release conditions. So I guess this is to do with, like, you know, before the October one maybe. One default. Report your contact information and any change in address, phone or email to the court and your attorney within 1 business day of the change. Promise to not commit any criminal offences. Yeah, right. Promise to appear for all required court proceedings. So, has this got anything to do with being released on bail in between leading up to the court case, the court date, like in a general situation, and depending on the level of crime committed, with the health factors assessed and monitored, it determines what sort of conditions can be met for when you are potentially released in between leading up to that court case. And if anything does happen in between, that might play a role within the final verdict, maybe. Okay. I mean, I guess this is just giving general conditions and situations, I assume. Number 2, DV. Must sign jail release agreement or remain in custody and be brought before a judge for a decision on jail release order conditions. Number 3, ROR. Report your contact information and any change in address, phone or email to the court and your attorney. Okay. PRL1, court reminder notification. 1 phone contact per month or equivalent. Wow. So that's kind of restricted, that 1 phone contact per month. Not much, is it? But then again, you know, it's like, what was I going to say? Maybe that's what Brookie would do, because Brooke has been phoning Jim Brenner or doing some kind of virtual call meeting. So I guess that would fit under that. But okay, let me just look back, because I just want to fully understand. It's DV, ROR, PRL1, PRL2. And what do we have here? PRL4 is the one circled, which I assume is what Jim Brenner is under. FTA 5, PRL4. It gives PRL1 but not PRL4. Maybe it's on the next slide. Ah, here we go. Oh, it's a bit too zoomed in. Never mind. Court reminder notification, 2 phone contacts per month. A PRL3 is court reminder notification, 1 face-to-face contact per week/month. Number 7, a PRL4 is electronic monitoring, drug testing, court reminder notification, home detention, face-to-face contact per week/month. Statutory requirements are met. Hold without bail if released. Maximum conditions recommended. 9, optional. Appear in court when required. Commit no new offences during the period of release. Defendant shall forfeit or refrain from possession of a firearm or other dangerous weapons. Defendant may be released on an unsecured bond. Avoid contact with the victim or victims of the alleged offence. So I assume where it says number 9 optional is optional to PRL4. Now, with it saying PRL4, that's the one circled. That's the one circled, fuck's sake, there. So I assume That's what Brenner has received. So with Brenner receiving that, and you read this part, he has to have electronic monitoring, drug testing, court reminder notification to make sure he turns up, home detention, and a face-to-face contact per week/month. And I assume if that's not taken, then the other option is appearing in court when required, commit no new offences during the period of release. Like, you know, the type of person he is, who knows what he could do. Defendant shall forfeit or refrain from possession of firearms. Now that's already happened. You look back in the past. Defendant may be released on an unsecured bond and avoid contact with the victims. Okay, so that's it for that. Now I know there's other documents, more in depth, more detail, all kinds of stuff to look at about Brenner, some audio recording as well, which people are trying to get a hold of. You've seen it on YouTube here and there. Yeah. I don't have access to that stuff. I don't know where to find it, okay? I'm just showing you what I have received, you know, credit to Julie. And I'll just briefly conclude with this video, just my random thoughts and stuff about it. And there's like little documents and papers, some kind of health assessment thing. I assume it's to do with like right now, tied in with the recent other court documents assessing him. Okay, and it's taken into consideration what he's previously been like in the past, so his criminal history, but also more in recent time. I might be wrong, but it seemed more just focused on the whole gun charge and being a felon. That's all it seemed to be focused on. Hence why maybe those conditions, what we saw the PRL for, aren't, you know, maybe aren't as severe in the way they were saying on release up until the court case. You know what I'm saying? The way it was worded, it didn't seem to tie with Dylan Brown's whatsoever. And, you know, some people are going to jump on in and say, oh, what do you expect? This is all to do with the gun charges, you know, this is the whole, you know, point about it, etc., etc. Well, this is the whole point about it, then why are other people saying there's documents to do with, you know, Jim Brenner and the Dylan Brown's case? Are these two separate things, or they're intertwined into one? Because from the documents I've seen, like in this video, they just seem to be focused just on the gun charges, unless this is an older piece of document, maybe. I don't know. But in terms of the conditions of PRL4, so he's got an electronic tagging on his ankle, which is probably the case, or maybe around the wrist. So he's being tracked, most likely a curfew as well. Can't do this, can't do that. Can't go in a certain distance of a victim. A bit like Chase Venstre when he had a restraining order. There was a restraining order on him, so he couldn't go up to his ex-girlfriend, but he broke that on several occasions. So maybe Jim Brenner could do the same thing, depending if he's reckless and not thinking and being, and you know, messing around. So who knows? If there is any like updates or any other like documents or something to share with you, I will do that. I think there might have been some older ones previous, which I might have shared with you, which were passed on from someone. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, you know, if it's a certain website or if it's a certain, you know, court, I don't know, you know, how do I, yeah, I did see some older ones, like 29th of July or something like that. And it said USA versus Brenner, and then it was like an official like document. But that's old news. That's not new. So I don't know where the new stuff's at. And when I have gone on websites, and as I've told you before, you know, okay, restricted on Facebook because I don't have a Facebook account. You have to have a fucking account. So stupid. Now Twitter as well in the last year or two. That's just so stupid as well. But you got to take in mind, country, when it comes to even news channels. Okay, YouTube, it's more accessible, but if you want to like do like a word for word transcript on certain like channels, news ones, they won't allow me on. They'll say restricted access. Your country doesn't, you know, isn't permitted to see this information. And then the same will apply to like the court websites or the court documents, just down to country. If you're from a different country, you can't view this legal stuff. You can't view this, you can't view that. So there's only so much one can do. That's what humans have to take in mind. And when the majority are from the US, they may not understand. But there you go. So yeah, that's it for now. Leave your thoughts down below, what you think about, you know, the court case, these documents, and the ones you might have seen, better ones, more in-depth ones. What's your opinion on them? Okay. Heard about a polygraph test as well. Might as well just mention these loose little things I've heard. A polygraph test, that he's supposedly failed on it all. Who knows? That seems to be speculation at the moment. And then there's some people talking about like a receipt or something to do with visiting a place further out, maybe ordering stuff. Yeah, I'll just share with you the comment. It's easier to describe, okay? Okay, so this can be found on Cynthia Ravida channel. Cynthia's channel, who also covers the Dylan Rounds case extensively, so make sure to go over to there. But just a little comment I just wanted to read out to you, why not? So this person said, I'm most intrigued by insert timestamp, as you can see on the screen above with that little document on screen. It reads, Walmart receipts and CCTV video that has been submitted as evidence. There isn't a Walmart store anywhere close to Lucin or Montello. Those receipts could be JB purchasing bullets or items found in JB's possession after Dylan disappeared. It could also be CCTV of Dylan purchasing the different things that were eventually found in JB's possession. The 4th of the 9th, 2022 date is significant because that would be over a month and a half before Dylan actually went missing. My best guess would be the second one. Things that Dylan was known to have purchased, such as a John Deere cap, were later found in JB's rat hole of a trailer. I have no idea what the significance of the rental property might be as of the 1st of the 28th, 22. It's hard to tell if that is actually real estate related or some kind of equipment rental. And then we might as well look at the responses. Locals travel an hour away to buy bulk stuff because in Montello it's way too expensive. Why is it so expensive in Montello if it's so poor, the place? I don't quite get that. Normally it's high-end places. Cost a lot, unless it's because the people in Montello are desperate to make money, maybe. Cynthia says, I can't figure out the rental property info as either. The date of the Walmart evidence does seem significant for both possibilities. Okay. I did not think it was truly Dylan's hat that JB wore, but I do now, tipping my favourite hat to you. So, if this really is the case, this is literally what I mentioned, weeks ago. You remember when I did my analysis of Jim Brenner wearing Dylan's cap, supposedly? You know what I'm saying? And it comes out as true now. Supposedly. You see, language. Can't get too ahead of yourself. Supposedly. Keyword. Certain things they can't prove weren't gifted, as Dylan's not here to dispute that. Unsure they would use such. Possible receipts that had his wallet along with his cash, etc. Yeah. It's a really good thing. Okay. So yeah, there you go. I'm sure there's more important videos out there on YouTube to look at when it comes to the whole court case related stuff, aside from mine. Mine is pretty piss poor and basic when it comes to this area, to be realistic, okay? But what I can provide next time is more of the map analysis, the visual look of the farm, Montello, and stuff like that, and Jim's trailer, by going back in time. And you'll see what I mean in one of the future videos, okay, coming soon. So I think that's about it. If you want to see my previous video about the whole wearing Dylan's cap, baseball cap, JB being responsible analysis video, I'll provide a link down below in the comment section so you can check it out. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.